Welcome here to another edition of Recruit Spotlight on Husker Online. As always, Recruit Spotlight brought to you by our proud sponsors, Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill and Tavern 180, 30th and Yankee Hill Road. Steve Sipple, Sean Callahan here. And Sip, we've done a few of these now already. And let me tell you, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some more fun ones coming. Let's start with arguably the number one ranked player in Iowa joining us here in studio on Recruit Spotlight, brought to you by Tanner's and Tavern 180. Let's welcome in Grant Brix, Logan Magnolia, one of the top interior ranked offensive linemen on three. Grant, welcome here to Recruit Spotlight.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Grant, I mean,
ahead,
dive into your story a little bit more. Obviously, you were at camp at Nebraska last year. I remember seeing you there, but things have just really taken off for you in just the last 6 to 9 months.
So you kind of just want me to explain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just go into your recruiting story a little bit and just kind of how things kind of got going.
So I did go to 2 camps at Nebraska this summer, and then I ended up getting my first offer at Kansas State during the camp season, and then I got my offer from Nebraska in September, which is when it all started picking up. And then
Notre Dame's been prominent, right?
Yeah.
In your recruitment. And you were
more recently.
Yeah. And you were recruited to Notre Dame originally by Harry Hiestand, right?
Yep.
Who's now retired.
Yep.
So the question I have, Grant, is does that impact how you regard the Irish? Was Harry big in that recruitment?
I'd say he was, just because he's obviously a very, very good coach.
Yeah.
But I just am gonna get to know Coach Rudolph. I have not really gotten to know him that well yet. But
Joe Rudolph, Sean.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, we are getting old.
I am looking forward to build that relationship with him.
You know, Joe Rudolph worked at Nebraska at one time.
Really?
Tight ends coach, 2007.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, back in the day. Now he's bounced around. He was at Wisconsin.
He's a great coach.
Yeah, he is. Highly regarded.
Well, you're in Logan Magnolia, but describe the lay of the land there, because it's Iowa, but you're right on the river. You're west. I mean, is it more Nebraska fans where you're at, Iowa State fans, Hawkeye fans, a good mix? I mean, give us a lay of the land of Logan Magnolia.
So it's a pretty small town. Lot of Cyclone fans, decent amount of Iowa fans, and then decent amount of Nebraska fans. So, I mean, I'd say there's probably a little more Cyclone, but Iowa and Nebraska is probably pretty even.
And Iowa State's prominent in your picture. I mean, they're one of your teams that you're heavily considering, correct?
Correct.
Now, do you ever feel any pressure to stay in Iowa? Friends, whatever, townspeople.
So the Iowa and Iowa State ones, obviously, yes. And then the Nebraska ones, obviously, no. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't feel a lot of pressure that way.
No.
What is so now maybe you know this, maybe you don't. Donovan Raiola, the offensive line coach here, is really, I would call, a disciple of Harry Hiestand. Would that positively impact the way you regard Nebraska?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, what is your relationship like with Donovan? Is he the primary recruiter?
Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely.
How's that gone?
It's gone good. Just call him often. And just working on building that relationship.
Sure. That's probably so on a visit like this. Is that one of your focus? What is your focus on a visit like this weekend? What do you want to see?
So I kind of just want to see everything that would be in like the daily like life as a student athlete here. And then I am going on spring visits to determine where I'm going to take my official visit. So I'm kind of taking notes, and then after I take all the visits, I'm going to compare them all. And then
so this is kind of the pre-party. You kind of deciding the lay of who are the players in your opinion? Notre Dame, Nebraska, Iowa. I assume Iowa
State. It's all where I'm taking my
your spring trips.
Yeah.
What are your spring trips beside Nebraska for sure?
So Oklahoma, Iowa, Michigan State, Kansas State, Nebraska, then Pitt, Penn State, Tennessee, and then Iowa State, Minnesota, then Notre Dame.
You're going to all those places.
Yep.
Man, so you got some whittling down to do eventually.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
We're talking here with Grant Brix, the top player in the state of Iowa, on Recruit Spotlight, brought to you by Tanner Sports Bar and Grill, Tavern 180. Well, let's talk about this weekend at Nebraska. You're here. You've been here before, but I'm guessing this is your first true experience maybe around the new staff.
Yep.
What's your thoughts? I mean, just spending a time around Matt Rule, the coaching staff here. What's jumped out to you just about the visit?
I've really enjoyed it. I think I have a great feel for the staff. They seem very, very straightforward and honest, which I really appreciate. And yeah.
How many recruits were here? I mean, do you have an idea how many different? I mean, because we thought it was like 25, 26. I mean, was it more than that? I mean, how many guys were kind of involved in the, when you kind of got together for meals and stuff on the visits this weekend?
It probably was about 22 to 25, like you said. It felt like.
Okay, so we're sitting here on Friday night. What's the plan tomorrow?
So they're doing the practice tomorrow.
Okay.
Because today it was weightlifting and meetings.
Okay.
So
you'll go to the morning practice.
Yep, we will.
Is there anything in particular you'll be looking for in that practice?
I'm just going to watch kind of how Coach Raiola coaches his guys and how they kind of react to it. And yeah.
Now you can play almost every position, but are most people saying guard, center, interior, or some wanting for tackle as well?
I'd say it's probably tackle or guard. So
what do you want to play?
Probably tackle or guard. Probably a little more towards tackle, but I'd be okay with guard too.
Yeah, you look like a tackle. I'm just saying.
Are you
Coach
6?
Sipple.
So height and weight, you said you were about 6'5", right around 6'5" today? Or?
Yeah, 6'5.5" roughly.
280,
275, 276 and change or something like that.
Would you say, Grant, that you're enjoying this process, the recruiting process? Because for you, it's pretty extensive. I mean, highly recruited.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and yeah,
that is. I mean, did you ever dream of this happening when you were a kid?
I actually was a basketball player, so I didn't even play football until 8th grade.
Is that right?
Yeah, so not really. And then I just started working towards it freshman year, sophomore year, and then it surprised me a little bit. I mean, I was still putting the work in, but it just honestly surprised me.
So did football come pretty naturally when you started doing it?
No, I had to put a lot of work in.
Really?
But yeah, I think it was more so just kind of getting the feel for it.
Because you play a pretty technical position, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some people don't even understand how technical being an offensive lineman can be.
Yeah, and it feels natural now.
Does it?
It's just as a freshman jumping in there with all those seniors.
How'd that go?
Not too well, but I learned a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're just a kid.
You got to fail to succeed.
There you go.
How many kids are in your class? Like, how big is your school, like in terms of class sizes?
45 per grade.
45 per grade. So it'd be a Class C school in Nebraska, give or take.
Okay, yeah. And you have wrestled. In what ways does your wrestling help football?
So it teaches you to bend pretty well.
Yeah.
Footwork. You got to keep your feet moving and leverage. So yeah,
all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a thrower? Do you do track as well?
I do.
Is that going to be hard to do with the visits and stuff? Or are you making it all work with track schedule and football visits?
I am making it all work. There's not really track meets on the weekends, so that's the nice thing.
And what are your throw marks right now?
So I threw 47.7 to qualify for state last year. So that's my furthest throw, and then my discus is 108 out of a power throw.
You gonna make it in Drake relays? You gonna qualify for Drake? Is that a goal too? Or?
I'm hoping. I don't know. Just keep working at it and see what happens.
That's where state's at too, isn't it? The Drake track.
Yeah, I've heard that they do the Drake relay indoors though.
Oh, the throws?
They might.
I thought they did.
Yeah, I've been to that several times, 15, 20,000 people at that meet, and they mix high school kids with college kids running in different events. It's an incredible, just like the Kansas relay, incredible track meet.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, Grant, so what's next again? I mean, give us a rundown again after Nebraska. What's the next couple of weeks look like for you?
So I have some track meets, obviously. And then I think it's next weekend. I go to Pitt and Penn State, or maybe the weekend after.
Heading to
And
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, to Pennsylvania. And then after that, it's the Tennessee.
Okay.
And then after that, it's Minnesota, Iowa State, and then Notre Dame.
Is
Okay.
Iowa recruiting you really hard? Obviously, I mean, Western Iowa kids tend to get, I feel like for the Hawkeyes, that they really do well in the East, but the West guys are kind of a grab bag. I mean, is Iowa on you as hard as everybody else is?
Yes.
Do you feel like as an Iowa, I mean, how do you look at Iowa, I guess, as an Iowan? I mean, just growing up in the state of Iowa.
I think they have a really strong, solid football program that's been consistent for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and for decision timeline, you said official visits.
Mm-hmm.
So are you hoping to kind of get this done June, July and make an announcement in the summer months or?
Yeah, I think before the school year, but if I don't feel right about it or I don't feel like I'm ready to do it, then I won't.
Okay.
And I'll just wait.
Are you an early enrollee?
Probably not, but I just still don't know.
Yeah. For linemen, it doesn't make a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You got to develop.
Got a ways to go in this process.
Yep.
That's all right.
Well, Grant, it's been a lot of fun. Appreciate you coming in, taking a chance to sit down here with us on the Recruit Spotlight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Well, that wraps it up here for another edition of Recruit Spotlight. Thanks again to Grant Brix. Recruit Spotlight, once again, brought to you by Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill, Tavern 180 in Lincoln, 30th and Yankee Hill Road. For Steve Sipple, I'm Sean Callahan here for Recruit Spotlight.